What I found in AA is people who were able to be comfortable in their own skin without taking a drink. And I couldn't imagine it being true for myself, but I believed that it was true for you and that maybe you could help me with that. And you did. That is actually what I found here. I don't think I would be here if that wasn't the outcome.
I've heard it through the grapevine.
Welcome. It's the AA Grapevine Half Hour Variety Hour, featuring the collected voices of Alcoholics Anonymous. I am Olis, an alcoholic in beautiful Oakland, California.
And I'm Don, an alcoholic in Greensboro, North Carolina. No comment about Greensboro. Greensboro is beautiful.
Beautiful.
Alice, I was at a meeting the other day, and yes, I tend to go to these things.
You do?
I like them. Hey, turns out I like them.
Yeah, me too.
And someone said, I didn't want to know me before AA. And that really struck home because I was thinking back on it. I am so accustomed now in long-term sobriety. I've been doing this for a while. And the idea of looking at my behavior, looking at my thinking, and trying to see, okay, where's this coming from? What's going on here? What am I afraid of? The whole thing, just self-examination.
Self-examination.
Continuing inventory is the way that we live. And I didn't want to know anything about any of that back when I was drinking. What I wanted to do was not know what was going on. If I felt something, I wanted to get rid of it.
Yeah. You know, it's so funny. I recently had this experience where I needed to do a small task. I needed to call in my insurance company about an incident, and I just couldn't do it. And when I finally got up the courage to do it, because the sponsee called me and she was like, my mom died. And, this is always the truth for us. Like, somebody else's trauma is always the motivation we need.
What was the block?
I don't know. It didn't even, I don't know. Crazy. I'm an alcoholic. And when I finished with the guy who could not have been nicer, I said to him, sometimes I think, like when I was a little kid, it's a monster. And I look under the bed finally, and it's an old blanket and a shoe. There's no monster, right? And that's why we don't want to know who we were. That's why we don't want to look back. Because we think it's going to be like something catastrophic. And it's an old blanket and a shoe. Like, it's nothing there. Like, the fear is the monster, not the thing I find when I look back. So I love this because I didn't want to know me before AA is sort of the antithesis of what we do here, as you said, Don.
Yeah.
Like, awareness is the basis of spirituality. Like, until I'm aware, I can't grow spiritually.
That's right.
And so avoiding it is like avoiding my recovery. But I don't know that when I get here.
And you hear all the time about people being afraid of the fourth and the fifth step. Step 4 made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves, and 5 admitted to God and to ourselves and another human being
the exact
nature of our wrongs. Coming from that place where I don't want to look, I don't want to know, that's scary.
It's scary. But here's the thing, and this is for all of the listeners who may have experience with 4 and 5. Here's my personal request. Come on, let's stop scaring the new people. Let's stop it. It is the road to freedom. So, I think, just what I think that the 3rd step prayer, God, I offer myself to thee to build with me and do right. I think that prayer, which is in the book of Alcoholics Anonymous, people find it. I think that prayer, which doesn't have an amen at the end, opens us into a moving prayer. That 4 is a moving prayer, 5 is a moving prayer.
A moving prayer.
It's a prayer when I do these inventories.
When I do the action.
Right. When I do the action of looking at myself, what are my resentments? What are my fears? What are my misconducts? Don't be afraid. It's such a beautiful thing to see yourself.
Alice, who's our guest today?
Oh, man, we're in for a treat today. I'm really excited. We have Martha M. from Erie, not Pennsylvania, Erie, Colorado. Woohoo!
Erie.
I know, Erie, Colorado. And what we're going to also do today is we're going to get a chance to dive into one of my favorite things, an Ask It Basket question. And we're going to see if Martha will join us in talking about what we got from the Ask It Basket.
But first, the news. The Trustees Literature Committee is seeking stories of personal recovery from all members in the AA structure of the United States and Canada with ethnic or cultural ties to Asia.
Please encourage all who qualify to submit their stories. The success of the pamphlet depends on having a broad range of stories to choose from.
Stories of recovery may include, but are not limited to, experience, strength, and hope.
Steps, traditions, and concepts.
Ethnic, cultural, sexual, and gender diversity.
Sponsorship and service.
Experience in AA meetings.
Safety, racism, and belonging through AA principles.
Sobriety and mental health.
Cultural reconnection.
Diversity of socioeconomic status.
Atheists and agnostics.
Newcomer experiences.
Finding AA.
Experience in linguistic AA groups and or communities.
Accessing AA despite cultural barriers.
Email submissions or questions to pamphletstories@aa.org.
And please start working on this now. Submissions are due by March 31st, 2026.
The Plain Language Big Book is now available. It's intended to help readers better understand the book Alcoholics Anonymous, fondly called the Big Book by AA members. It's considered the basic text of the AA program of recovery. This new book describes AA's 12-step program in simpler language than the original book, which was published in 1939.
The Plain Language Big Book presents in a simpler language
the ideas contained in the Big Book, Alcoholics Anonymous.
Specific AA-related words and phrases used in the original 1939 book.
Vocabulary in the original book that may be dated or not familiar to readers.
And the core content of the original Big Book without member stories, often called the Abridged Edition.
The Plain Language Big Book is AA General Service Conference approved literature and is available now for $11.
And as always, AA encourages ordering our literature via your local distribution sources, groups, districts, intergroups, and central offices, as they play a vital role in local 12-step activities.
So nice to meet you, Don and Olis. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm happy to finally get to meet you. My name is Martha. I'm an alcoholic. My sobriety date is December 11th, 2011. I have a sponsor in Alcoholics Anonymous, and I have taken and am regularly engaged in the 12 steps as they're described in the book Alcoholics Anonymous that have allowed me to have a spiritual awakening sufficient to bring about recovery from alcoholism. My home group, unfortunately, recently had to close its doors. So I'm in the wonderful process of getting to look around my AA community for a place that might feel like home to me, which means I get to attend this wonderful diversity of groups that I haven't maybe had the opportunity to visit recently. So that's been an interesting project.
What are you looking for when you're looking for a group?
I'm looking for a number of things in a home group. I like to have a home group that is connected to the general service structure in Alcoholics Anonymous. That's really important to me. I like to have a home group that focuses on a strong recovery message, particularly working out of the book Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah.
I like to have a home group that I attend and I hear a message that's resonant to me, where I leave and I feel like my cup has been filled. And most importantly, in a home group, I wish to feel like my family is there. I like to feel at home.
Yeah.
And so that's really what I'm looking for as I visit these groups around town and see what works consistently for me. And then finally, of course, something that I can attend with regularity. It's really important to me. Yeah, exactly. I want to be able to be there really consistently, assuming I'm in town. So those are the things I'm looking for.
I recently did that whole process and I tried a bunch of different groups, and meetings are very different. They're like people. They have different personalities. They have different feels. And so I ended up, Martha, with a home group that is a 45-minute drive.
I want to be excited to go to my home group
Me
every
too.
week.
Me too.
My sponsor told me the home group is the one where I belong. That's the one where I am connected to the rest of the AA service structure. And by belonging to a home group, that says that I'm going to show up at this meeting unless I'm out of town or there's a death in the family. So that I know I'm going to go to an AA meeting every single week because I go to my home group, not because I want to, because I'm committed to go.
That's exactly right.
Home group is where I'm responsible for making AA happen.
My home group is often a place where I feel I get my cup filled with respect to hearing a recovery message. I need to attend other meetings. That diversity is really important so that I can carry that message elsewhere in our AA community.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's important.
When I was new in recovery, my first home group, the Rapid Noon in Oakland, met 5 days a week. And what I found in early recovery is that I did better, felt more connected when I had a home group that met multiple times a week. Mm-hmm. And I would say to people, I'm so crazy. I need a home group that meets multiple times a week. And so I have a home group now that meets twice a week, and that works for me. Mm-hmm. But at different stages, I've needed different things. And I love, Martha, that you said a group that's connected to the general service structure, because I think of that as a 3 legacy group, a group that works on unity, like their events. They do, I don't do all the stuff. I'm not the do all the stuff person, but like they do camping, they go to baseball games, they do all the stuff, but they also are literature based around recovery, but they also do a bunch of service. And so I really appreciate you saying you're looking for a home group that is all 3 legacies.
That's right. And that's where I hear that message about what is happening in Alcoholics Anonymous as a whole, where we are moving and oriented as a fellowship and a movement. I want to hear that in my home group's group conscience so that I have a stake of ownership in Alcoholics Anonymous.
I love that.
Martha, you came in 2011. What was your drinking like the year before you came into AA?
Oh, I love that. Thanks for that question, Don. So I came to Alcoholics Anonymous at the end of 2011 in December. And I like to just remind everybody that nobody gets sober in mid-December if they had a choice about it.
No kidding.
It's in the middle of the party season.
It sure is. And it was a rough holiday season that year. It was really, really challenging.
I suspect so.
My first Christmas, I was 2 years sober, and I remember just thinking, I'm not doing it. I can't. I don't know how to navigate any of these things without drinking. I didn't know how to wake up in the morning and take a shower without taking a drink. I was 24 years old. I often will describe my life as not having anything I wanted and not wanting anything I had. I had tried everything that I knew how to do to stop drinking. None of it worked. I knew that I wasn't going to try anything else after I had been referred to my first meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous, which incidentally wasn't really my first meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous.
What do you mean?
So I had actually attended some meetings of AA in the course of a couple of rounds of treatment earlier in my life, some years prior to actually ever wanting to really get sober.
You were in treatment centers before?
I was.
Yet you didn't want to get sober. But surely you had a problem if you ended up in a treatment center.
Other people seem to think that was the case.
So this is late teens, right?
Late teens, easily identifiable as having a problem with alcohol and substances. In December 2011, I went to this holiday party with my husband. He was working for a new company, and it was my first time meeting many of these people. And I did that thing that I used to do where I would look myself in the eye in the mirror as I was getting ready to go wherever I had to go in the world and convince myself with everything that I had that this time I was going to make it work. I was really going to do it this time. I am going to have 4 drinks.
Mm-hmm. And 4 is generous.
That's right. It's not 2 because I knew that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
But 7 is often where it goes off the rails. So 4 seems like a really good target. And I knew I was going to make it work this time. And then I walked in the door. I walked up to the open bar. I remember thinking, I'm going to be really nice and charming with this bartender so that I can have a drink in my hand all night, because I suddenly looked around the room and I was afraid and alone and I didn't know anybody. I remember this bartender saying to me, "What's it going to be, sweetheart? Another old fashioned?" And looking at him and saying, "You know what? Surprise me." And he mixed me this highball. And the last thing I clearly remember from that evening is saying to him, "Surprise me again." And I came to a detox facility in Boulder.
Oh,
And I don't really know how I got there.
Wow.
And I'm really fortunate.
yeah.
This detox facility is a place where I went to a non-alcoholic staff member and I said, "I think I might need some help. Could you give me some information about alcoholism?" And he said, "Well, we can send you to AA." And he pushed a meeting schedule at me. He had it at the ready. And that man saved my life. That non-alcoholic man saved my life, and he'll never know that. And that means to me that at some point, some sober members of Alcoholics Anonymous approached this non-alcoholic and said, "If anybody ever wants help, Alcoholics Anonymous is here as a
Wow.
resource, and
Yeah.
here's how they can find us." And those AA members saved my life.
Mm-hmm.
I can only attribute that to something bigger than me. It
Mm.
was the narrowest window of grace through which I crawled into Alcoholics Anonymous. What actually happened is I was discharged from the facility for a short time. I'd gotten a ride home, and I looked around at just the absolute destruction that I had created.
Mm.
Everything about my life, my career, my marriage, my friendships, my relationships,
Yeah.
everywhere, all broken. And I had this intuitive thought that I could return to that detox facility and ask them for help. And I don't know where that came from. It certainly didn't come
Hmm.
from me.
Did you recognize at that time you're dancing around a higher power that God is speaking?
I think I may have. I certainly wouldn't have objected to the suggestion that that was God doing for me what I was unable to do for myself. There was no fight left in me.
Mm.
I came to AA not prepared to fight against this idea of a higher power that would restore me to sanity. I got to AA and I was like, "It's God, fine. Yes, I'll try it. I've tried everything else. Nothing I'm doing is working.
Mm.
Let's give that a shot." I came to the first meeting of AA that was on that schedule in that same detox facility because I was too afraid to go anywhere else. And I remember thinking that that was the only thing that I was going to do. And that if you didn't have an answer for me, that was it. And I walked in, again, I was 24. There were three men in the room. They were all over 50. Two of them were sober. And I remember being afraid that there wasn't going to be anything for me here. And I sat down at the table, and the two sober guys started talking about the way that they drank. And immediately I knew that they knew. I knew that they knew. They started talking about how when they drank, they would lose control over the amount of alcohol they drank, even if they had firmly resolved to have some arbitrary number of drinks, like 4 drinks. And then they talked about how no matter how firmly they had resolved not to drink again, they could rationalize their way into the first drink at any cost. They
Yeah.
described years of my life, and I never
Mm.
knew that anybody else would understand that. And so I trusted what they had to say immediately. They won my confidence in the space of 1 short hour. I sat down at that table and I started crying.
Mm.
And thank God for the people who do hospital and institution work, the people who are willing to go into facilities and take a meeting in, to people who either cannot or will not go out. Because you were like, "I'm willing to do it if you bring it to me."
Yes.
And we got to meet people where they are.
That's right. And they made really practical suggestions to me, the ones that we hear in Alcoholics Anonymous all the time, to get a home group and the value in being known and seen and expected to be seen there so that people would be checking for me. They told me to get a copy of the book Alcoholics Anonymous, which incidentally I already owned. And they told me to get a sponsor who would guide me through the steps as they're described in that book. And I did all of those things. And as a result of those actions taken together, I haven't had to take a drink since I came to that first meeting of Alcoholics
Did you think
Anonymous.
that was possible at the time?
Absolutely not. Even in that first meeting, I remember thinking, if I can just dry out for a while, maybe it will be
Mm-hmm.
different. And I started
Mm-hmm.
bargaining with myself, maybe if I can just not drink for 30 days or 90
Mm-hmm.
days.
Well, that's a good
Mm-hmm.
way to think. Let's keep it into what about just not drinking today?
And the small items that are in front of me today, I like to say that nobody comes into Alcoholics Anonymous riding the crest of a winning streak, and I certainly
I
didn't.
love that.
Um,
What about today? What's today look like? What's
mm,
recovery right now? Because I'm imagining that it's nothing that you could have foreseen.
Yeah, yeah.
it's not even close, and largely that's a result of taking a succession of those types of actions where it's difficult for me to see what the outcome might be, but I surrender to God and I let God be in charge of the results and the outcome. Recovery today, I go to a lot of meetings of Alcoholics Anonymous as I look around for a new home in the form of a home group. I do a lot of service work in AA. I'm deeply involved in the general service structure. I'm currently serving as a Panel 75 delegate to the General Service Conference. And so I get to
Woohoo!
spend a lot of time connected with other people who are involved in general service and really thinking about the longevity of our movement and making sure that future generations of alcoholics can come here and get well the way that I got well. And I think most importantly, the heart and soul of my participation in AA today is in the execution of my 12 step. I spend a lot of time engaged in 12 step work and sponsorship. And that really is the bright spot of my life. And it's where I get to share stories about unexpected turns in my career or in the growth of my family.
Will you say what the 12 step is first?
Yeah, so my 12 step is practicing these principles in all my affairs and carrying this message to other alcoholics. And the form that that takes for me most consistently is sponsorship. I am immensely privileged to sponsor a fair number of people and guide them through the 12 steps as they're described in the book Alcoholics Anonymous. And when we're done with that, we go through other AA literature. We look at the 12 traditions. I'm very passionate about our 12 concepts for world service. So just knee to knee, one alcoholic working with another is
Mm-hmm.
my 12 step. And as I said, that's the heart and soul of my program. I am married. And my husband and I have an 11-year-old daughter who's never seen me drink.
How do you manage your time with being married with a family? And you say you're a delegate, you're spending a lot of time with that. You're heavily involved in 12 step work.
And you
That's
have a
right.
career.
And I have a full-time job. That's right. So I'm really privileged. My husband saw me drink alcohol.
Mm,
My
Um,
husband knows what it looks like when I
mm.
drink. And every single time AA has asked something of me, I have a group conscience with him. It's important. He'll be
I love that.
impacted. So we sit down and we talk about it. And invariably, universally, he's always like, I think that's a great idea. I think you should stand for that service position. Do you need a ride? Because
Mm-hmm,
he knows.
well, you
He
do
mm-hmm.
have your
knows.
license back, don't you?
I do have my driver's license back. He likes to come with me. I get to visit a lot of AA communities all over the state of Colorado and really all over the country now. And he likes to join me. My daughter likes to join me from time to time. My daughter is 11, as I said, and this summer, I was going to give a report on the General Service Conference on the Western Slope in Colorado. It's a pretty long drive for us. She asked if she could come with me. So we made a
Mm-hmm,
day of it. We took a little road trip and
All
mm-hmm.
right.
she attended and she listened to my report on the way home in the car. I asked her what she thought about it. And she said, Well, Mom, I think that was really inspiring.
Mm,
And I'm glad that you got to do that.
mm.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's beautiful.
It was a really beautiful experience. And such is the nature of my motive to continue to participate in something like general service work. This didn't happen the way that I planned it. I didn't
At all.
anticipate serving in this role at this time in my life at all. It's just what God had for me. But I have this kid. If God forbid she ever were to need it, I would want Alcoholics Anonymous to be here for her.
Mhm.
That's
I
a
would want her,
motivation.
that's right. I would want her to be able to enter unasked and feel welcome. I would want her to find a solution here for fun and for free, the way that I did. And I think that I have a small role to play in that. That's what general service work means for me.
Well, that's beautiful, Martha. It's time for the Ask It Basket.
And now, let's dip into the basket.
Don, we received a letter from Jay with a question for the Ask It basket. He writes,
Good morning, Sam, Olis, and Don. And then Jay goes on with a bunch of nice things about the podcast, and we really appreciate it. He continues, one topic I'd love you guys to address in some future podcast is getting sober later in life. I came to AA in my early 40s and picked up a one-year chip. I completed the steps with my sponsor at the time. Then I went to fewer meetings, called my sponsor less, wasn't trying to engage with my higher power, and went back out. I didn't return to AA until I was 63. I'm 2 years sober as of this past November 11th. I have a great sponsor and I'm on step 8. But there are times on the occasional day when I'm overwhelmed by the wreckage of my past and career decisions I've made as a result of my addiction. It can be overwhelming. I then have to remind myself I have so much to be grateful for. I'm sober, and I have an opportunity to live my best life even if I'm old. I remind myself that comparison is the thief of joy. I have a spouse who loves me unconditionally, a house, a decent job, and many sober friends. I want to get to the point where it says in the 9th step promises, I will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it, but I'm not there yet. Sincerely, Jay.
What a great letter, Jay. Thank you for all the love to the podcast, but also thank you for putting out for discussion the reality that we get here at any stage in life. Some of us get here really young, and some of us get here when we're mature. And by the way, you and I are both 65 now. And it doesn't matter how much time we have. It really matters what we do with the time. And I'm not suggesting time doesn't matter, but I'm suggesting that finding joy where you are matters. There are a lot of people who I know that came in later in life. Is that true, Don, where you live?
It is true. I'm 72 years old. It's now getting to be later in life. I think it's true no matter what age you came in. I had a sponsee who came in who was about my age now, and he said it to me at one point, Don, I think I'm too old to get this stuff. It's too late for me at my age. And I said, Herbie, that's not true. If somebody comes in when they're 16, I am too young to get this stuff. I'm too young to be able to do this. If they're coming at 30, I'm too busy to get to you. Don't understand. I have a family. I have whatever it is. There's always a feeling that I'm not going to be able to do it. And if we just keep our focus on today, one day at a time, it will work. And the promises will come true. Martha?
Something I really love about our solution in Alcoholics Anonymous is that, at least in my relatively limited experience, which is a joke about being sort of young, but not really anymore, our solution really has been applicable to every season of my life, at least those in which I've wanted to stay sober. If I choose to, I can really easily focus on periods of my life that I think I wasted with my drinking. But Alcoholics Anonymous consistently reminds me to turn my attention toward how I might use the gift of my sobriety today to be helpful to somebody else. And I really love that about us.
When I first got here, I heard in a meeting, if I can practice gratitude for where I am right now, that means I accept all of the things that it took to get me here. And then regret falls away. And so what a joy it is to be sober at any stage of life.
We'd love for you to call in with your Ask It Basket questions. The number is 212-870-3418 or email to podcast@aagrapevine.org with comments, suggestions, and such.
Thank you, Jay.
This has been fantastic. We could go on talking to you. I mean, I'll be happy to stay here for another hour.
It was really lovely. Thank you
so much. What a gift.
Language of the heart.
Mike, alcoholic. My home group is Friday Night Men's in Abbotsford, BC. I live in Aldergrove, BC. My sobriety date is May 11th, 2025. Yes, that's right. I've been around AA for a long time, but I have a checkered history. This time around, I've surrounded myself with people to whom I am accountable. Not so much with urine tests, but at any time of day, I check in with my sponsor. As far as meetings, first of all, our group, we're a bit rambunctious, but we take our sobriety very seriously. But when we have a newcomer, it's interesting to see how the group kind of comes together for the newcomer. And my thing, I'm the guy who says, listen, I know you come in here and you see God all over the place, but I want you to know that there are agnostics and atheists, many, many of them, who have serious sobriety. There's a book called One Big Tent, which is strictly the experiences of that kind of people. So I'm an agnostic on a good day, but I practice the program exactly the same as everyone else. I pray, I meditate, I do all the spiritual things. I look after my spiritual fitness, I hope. But don't be afraid because you see God. Don't sprint out of here like we're coming to get you. I think that's important, and newcomers sometimes get scared about that.
My name is Leina, and I am a grateful member of Alcoholics Anonymous. I subscribe to the Grapevine because I love hearing all the stories of everybody a part of this wonderful fellowship. It's just spectacular.
While we provide the podcast at no charge, we do have expenses.
If you want to support this podcast, visit aagrapevine.org and click on store or subscribe.
$3 a month? Come on.
I'm at the very wit's end. Cuckoo.
My family always thought I was the weird one. Then I joined AA and discovered I'm actually pretty normal. For us.
It's really not that funny. Thanks for joining us. The AA Grapevine Half-Hour Variety Hour is posted every Monday and is produced by AA Grapevine, Inc. We don't speak for AA as a whole. We share the experience, strength, and hope of members to help others recover from alcoholism. All things Grapevine are available at aagrapevine.org, including our app and how to get in touch with us. Find us on Instagram and YouTube. If you want to know more about AA, visit aa.org or search online for Alcoholics Anonymous and your city.